Well, new promotions have been popping up all around. Big, small, doesn't matter, but they're small in terms of wrestling. RAF Wrestling is making an explosion onto the scene right now. And I got to be honest, man, I love what they're doing. I'm really, really excited about all the matchups they're putting together. And they're giving these fighters, former fighters and current fighters, an opportunity to make money, stay active, and compete at a high level against high level competition. Now, sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. A la Bilal Muhammad, who wrestled David Carr, not a good matchup, right? And we have another one that's coming up. My boy, Luke Rockhold, fighting Colby Covington. Colby Covington is I would say, a pretty damn good wrestler, as most people would say. And I even had this conversation with my boy, Dale Cormier, and he's like, hey, I said, how will Luke do against Colby Covington? He's like, man, he's like, I would be surprised if Colby didn't tech him, basically in the first or coming through into the second, whatever it is. He said, I would be surprised if he didn't tech him. And I thought to myself, man, Luke can wrestle. Luke's long. Luke's very difficult to take down. All of these things. He's like, nah, man, you take a true wrestler like Colby Covington and you put him in there against someone like Luke Rockhold, who's got, like, say, high school wrestling, but is very talented, very athletic, he's always in shape. But the wrestling will stand out. But there's been some great fight announcements, though, coming from RAF Wrestling. I'm excited for this. They just announced today, Henry Cejudo versus Uriah Faber. Great matchup. Both guys, I would love to have seen these guys really get after it in their heyday. We didn't see that. But in this type of situation, Henry Cejudo versus Uriah Faber in a wrestling match, straight wrestling match. And Uriah Faber being a dog, he came up from the wrestling background. I believe he wrestled at UC Davis. And then you got Henry Cejudo, obviously Olympic gold medalist. Everyone knows. You've got these guys that are still kind of chomping at the bit. And Randy Couture talked about this a lot. He talked about the fact that when he got done wrestling in college, he got done in the military. He's like, I still had to scratch that athletic itch, that competitive itch. I had that feeling that I wanted to go out there and still compete. The UFC popped up at the right time. And that's kind of where we're at right now. Is I still love watching Henry Cejudo hit his inside trip. I still love watching Uriah Faber just drive through guys, hit the swing single. Like, I still love watching Uriah wrestle into that front headlock, see if he can get scooped behind. All of these things. These are things that I feel like fans have attached themselves to when they're watching their athletes. There are things that stand out in each athlete, and fans attach themselves to that. No different than, say, you say Alex Pereira. Alex Pereira, his left hook. Everyone loves watching him throw his left hook. It was Oscar De La Hoya. It was his left hook as well. So there's obviously things that fighters get known for. Right now, look, everyone talked about Khabib's, wrestling, but a lot of it towards the end became his ground and pound. Islam Makhachev, a lot of it was, it's just wrestling. For me, it's always been about the ability for him to hit his foot sweeps, his ability to now hit his darce and his anacondas from anywhere, and just the way he hits it and just the squeeze that he has. These are things that attach fans to their favorite fighters, favorite athletes, whatever it is. All of these things can be said, but this is, I think, why RAF Wrestling's doing it right. They're bringing on world-class athletes. You got Uriah Faber, you got Henry Cejudo. And look, I'm going to go ahead and scroll down. The other matchup on that card, which is going to be taking place, I think it's February 28th. It's going to be in Tempe, Arizona, at the Molet Arena. You've also got announced on that card. You got Mohamed Mokayav versus Bryce Meredith. Bryce Meredith is from the Arizona area. He's not from that area, but he resides there now. And you got Mokayav, who is someone who is shunned by the UFC. And I'm going to talk about that in another clip when we get into the Khabib conversation and his comments made recently about the UFC and that so on. So in this situation with Mokayav versus Bryce Meredith, this is another matchup where you have a great wrestler, but against somebody she's got good wrestling, but his wrestling is not his only thing. He is a mixed martial artist. He's someone that has a little bit of everything, but wrestling is his thing in MMA. How does that stand up against somebody like a Bryce Meredith, who wrestled at the University of Wyoming, was, multi-time All-American, just a fantastic, just straight wrestler. And in my conversation with DC, I was like, hey, how do you feel about these guys that are keeping themselves busy in the off season, keeping themselves busy with world-class level competition on the off season? He's like, I hate it, man. I'm like, what do you mean you hate it? This is something that, like, they're getting different looks from world-class athletes like a Bryce Meredith and Mokayav, and you got Henry Cejudo and Uriah Faber. Like both these guys are retired. I understand. But like if you take like Mokayav, right? He's still young. He's 25, I think, between 25 years old. Bryce Meredith is 30 years old, I believe. And you have both those athletes kind of in their prime, kind of trying to make their run in the sport of MMA, but both are fantastic wrestlers. But Bryce comes from just straight up traditional type wrestling background. How will Mokayav do against Bryce Meredith in just that traditional style of wrestling background? I know that Mokayav can wrestle. There's no doubt about that. But I take a look at what DC was saying. Like these guys, like when Bilal Muhammad wrestled David Carr, he got teched 10-0. But it was like one of those positions where Bilal's just trying to stay busy, man. Bilal's out there challenging himself. I'm not knocking that. I told you guys that I'm trying to take my content and everything more into a positive note. These guys, I think it's very important for them to be out there active. You get stagnant inside your gym, wrestling the same guys, sparring the same guys, okay, training jiu-jitsu with the same guys. You get stagnant, man. And I'm not saying you should go out there and compete, a full jiu-jitsu tournament or a full wrestling tournament where you're wrestling, 4 guys or 3 guys in one day. I'm not saying you should do that. I'm saying that when you have an opportunity to do something like this, where all I got to do is push hard for a short period of time in one match, like a super fight basically is what these are, and I can give it my all and leave it all out there. And hey, if I win, I win. If I don't, I don't. You still get paid, and you're out there having fun. It's a big spotlight. And these guys are getting a lot of publicity. They're getting a lot of notoriety by being active outside of the UFC or outside of the MMA sport. And some are actually getting some publicity even now afterwards. And I think RAF Wrestling came around the right time for fighters that are thinking about leaving. I wish this would have came along sooner. I would have loved to have tried to do something like this. I still have that competitive itch. I was just telling Keto George here about how much I said I wish that I could have done something like this, but my fat ass right now, it needs to get in shape this year. And so like this is something that may end up helping motivate me. I don't know if I can get a wrestling match, but it might be something that I try to do. It just sounds fun to me. You're not getting punched in the face. I'm not getting kicked in the body. I just looked back some of my old pictures against the Tony Ferguson fight. I was like, good God, what was I thinking? Blood all over my face, cuts all over my head. Like, what was I thinking, man? Like, really? And then this comes along where you can wrestle, have fun with it. Maybe you get a win. Maybe you're excited. Maybe you're out there having exciting matches. This might be something that, I get into a wrestling. I got Kyle Crushman right down here in Dallas running his own Crushman wrestling program. I'm going to have to hit that up, man. Got to get in there, grind in with some of these kids, get my butt out there and try and give this thing a try. I'm excited for what they've got going, man. So if you guys are interested in watching this, it is February 28th, 2026, 9 p.m. Eastern time at the Mullet Arena in Tempe, Arizona. You guys can buy tickets, but it's going to be Henry Cejudo versus Uriah Faber. And you've got also Muhammad Mokayav versus Bryce Meredith. Those are the only 2 that they have matched up right now on this card. But then you've also got, if I actually go back and I take a look on the card that's coming up on January 10th, I'm excited for that card because my boy Luke Rockhold he's going to be wrestling against Colby Covington. And when I talked to DC, he's like, it's not a good matchup for Luke. And I was like, really? I kind of broke my heart to hear DC say that. But the reality is, Luke's 41 years old. Not that Colby's young. He's 37. He's a spry, young 37 years old, right? But in this position, Colby comes from a traditional wrestling background where Luke's got good wrestling. But Luke is also somebody that wrestled basically in high school. I don't know if he had any JUCO wrestling or if he had any like college wrestling. I don't know. We never really got into talking about that. So I don't want to speak on that too much. But this is a good matchup. I think this is going to be a fun matchup. Luke is probably the bigger, taller, longer, I think even more athletic fighter than a wrestler than Colby. But Colby is more of a technician. Colby is someone that will grind you out and hang on you and make you work. Luke at 41 years old is going to have a hard time. The only guy I know that's over 40 years old that can still wrestle like a dog is Yoel Romero. This guy out here still doing cartwheel, spinning backflip jumps and all this other shit at 48 years old. It's insane. But look, I think Luke, as much as I want to disagree with my boy DC, I think Luke's got his hands full. I don't see Luke winning this. Now, whether he gets teched or not too sure. Don't know. Don't know about that. I think the length, the leverage that Luke has, he could probably avoid being teched by Colby Covington because I think that Luke's going to be the bigger athlete. But in straight just wrestling, I think that Colby's obviously got the huge advantage over this over Luke Rockhold. Bo Nickal, though, this is a huge matchup. I think when I think of RAF wrestling, these are the matchups that I would really love to see as the main event. This could have been a whole nother main event by itself. Bo Nickal versus Yoel Romero, absolutely fantastic. I couldn't think of a better matchup to have. This should have been a main event on one of their other cards, but I'll take it. I'll take it as the co-main event. It's for the light heavyweight championship match, and you've got, and I think it's a great matchup. So if you see Bo Nickal versus Yoel Romero, you get the young guy at 29 years old who can just get in. Look, he's also a ginger, so he's like just probably got retard strength all over, like Keto George. Keto George, he's a little bit of a ginger, aren't you? You got that ginger beard going on, I think you probably got a little of that extra strength too, buddy.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm more ginger or more retarded.
Oh man, look, either way though, it's like a superpower for you, brother. It is, man. It's a superpower. I don't know how you do it, but Yoel Romero though, 48 years old. I don't know how he does it. I don't know how he's still grinding and getting after this at 48 years old. I saw him do that back flip. I was like, what is this guy doing at 48, man? I'd say you're going to break your neck, but homeboy ain't got no neck. He's got no neck. It's just shoulders to ears. That's all he's got. But that's going to be a great matchup as well. Then I'm going to scroll all the way down here, man. There's another good matchup towards the bottom in the beginning of the card. And obviously another former fighter, but also world-class, top-level wrestler. I believe he was an All-American, two-time runner-up from Ohio State. But Lance Palmer against Arman Tsarukyan. The only thing that I have against this matchup is that Lance is going to be the better wrestler. I think traditional better wrestler. I'm not saying that he will win this because I'm not sure he will. But in this matchup, he's going to be the smaller guy. Lance is not a big guy. And Arman Tsarukyan, from what I understand, he just did the Shara Bullet, grappling match. And he said that, and Shara Bullet came out and said that Arman weighed more than Shara Bullet after weigh-ins. Shara Bullet came in at 185, 184, something like that. And Arman Tsarukyan came in at 186, which means he cut weight probably to get to 86. I mean, I don't know if they gave him the 1 pound allowance in this situation, but it was one of those situations where Arman Tsarukyan can freaking wrestle. But Lance is also the smaller guy. Lance is not a big guy. So I'm going to lean towards Arman Tsarukyan in this matchup. No dig at my boy Lance, man. I just think weight-wise, strength-wise, youth at 29 years old, Arman Tsarukyan, I think he gets it done. I think he's physically going to be too strong against Lance Palmer, who's 38 years old, not a big guy. And I think the wrestling, sure, I think he'll be able to hang with him early. But I think as the match goes on within the first probably minute, I think Arman's going to be too explosive for him, too young for him, and too physically strong. So I think that's going to be one of those matchups. I think people are leaning probably more towards Arman Tsarukyan. Bo Bassett, man, is on this card. Anytime you get an opportunity to watch Bo Bassett, make sure you check him out. I love watching Bo wrestle, man. Young kid, 19 years old, just a phenomenal wrestler, and also comes from a very good family. Just love being around. And of course, my man, Steve Mako, this guy, 43 years old, 43. Mako was a stud back in college. Mako's one of the top coaches at American Top Team, and just very quiet, keeps to himself, just kind of, but a great person. Make sure you guys check out his match as well. Look, RAF Wrestling's doing a good thing, man. I'm really looking forward to how they progress, how they keep this thing going. They seem to be putting a ton of money into this, and anything we can do to support wrestling. Wrestling is a feeder. Like the LFA, the Fury Fights, all of these MMA shows, they're all feeders into the UFC now. Let's just be honest, okay? They're all feeders into the UFC. But RAF Wrestling and wrestling promotions like this in college, these are the major feeders into MMA. These are the ones that you're getting athletes that really want to compete, that have competed at the highest level. You're not getting a guy who wrestled in high school, who's, grinding hard, putting in the work, but wasn't able to really make it in high school wrestling or wasn't able to really make it in college wrestling. It comes out and look, he's got potential, but you don't know what you're getting if you're a promoter. But in this situation, you know what you're getting when you're seeing world-class wrestlers decide to make a switch over in MMA, if they decide to. I mean, right now you've got Gable Steveson. He's really kind of exploding onto the scene with the bare knuckle stuff, with the MMA stuff. He can obviously do RAF wrestling if he wants to. There's potential all around. He was just on the Joe Rogan podcast. Check him out on the Joe Rogan podcast. Look, he is somebody that has all the attributes to be a really good fighter. I'm not saying he'll be a world champion. I'm not going to tout him as that yet. I'm simply saying I think he's very explosive. His body style is it's not known to be like he's shorter. I want to say he's, 5'11", 6 foot, really obviously thick legs, very explosive movements, all of those things. Can he explode onto the MMA scene, the UFC scene, and make a splash? In the heavyweight division, I believe he can. I truly believe he can. Because they lack wrestling in the heavyweight division. And those guys in the heavyweight division lack the ability to hit submissions off their back. They're good at, trying to stuff takedowns. Not all of them, but some of them. But I think that Gable Steveson has a real shot at being a top 2 or 3 UFC heavyweight fighter. 100%. Potential of being a champion too. He's still young. But I think these type of programs like RAF Wrestling, they give the promoter an opportunity to see what potential these athletes have. And you can pluck these fighters or these wrestlers from there and say, hey, let's get you into American Top Team. Let's get you into AK. Let's get you into Team Habib. Let's get you into, Kill Cliff. Let's get you into one of these big gyms, Greg Jackson's. Let's surround you with other fighters that have all the talent. And let's put you in there and let's just kind of have you work with them and see. Jordan Oliver was at Kill Cliff for a while. You had Gable Steveson right now is with John Jones, I believe, at Greg Jackson's. And there's a lot of potential, I think, brewing in this things. But I love seeing this company like RAF because you've got older fighters that are kind of on their way out for a place for them to go. You've got young, current All-Americans or current national champions that are here wrestling on the offseason or here trying to make a little extra money, but also, too, giving the opportunity to world-class MMA guys to challenge themselves. And nothing drives, and me being a former MMA guy, I honestly, I wish this was around. I would have done this all day long. One match for all the marbles. Let's just see what happens. You win some, you lose some. Have fun, man. When it's not that, I never took anything outside of fighting. I took it serious. I took soccer serious. I took wrestling serious in high school and then college a little, and you took it serious in the moment. But when it came to fighting and being as good as I was in fighting and and having success that I had in fighting, in that moment, I believed that there was nothing outside of that was as important to me. I was out having fun. Everything else was fun to me. So if I was playing a pickup game with a bunch of buddies, I was just laughing, joking, running around till they got tired. I was making them chase me. I always had fun playing soccer, indoor soccer, all those things. I just went out and had fun. Didn't care whether I won or not. Of course I tried to win, but I didn't care. I was I got done. I was let's go have a beer. Let's go hang out. Let's whatever. I wasn't down about it. And this is one of those situations, right? If you take a national champ or an All-American night in wrestling from Iowa or from Minnesota or from wherever, right? And they come here and then they end up giving up a takedown or two to an MMA guy, they're going to go home and just be like, what happened? Whereas the MMA guy's going to go home going, I got a takedown or two against this guy. Holy shit. Right? If Bilal would have gotten a takedown on David Carr, I think the internet would have exploded. I mean, my mind would have exploded. I mean, I saw that matchup. I was like, damn, that's a tough matchup for Bilal, man. Tough matchup. Just the age, the ability to straight up just wrestle. It was a tough matchup right from the get. I tip my hat to Bilal Muhammad, man. I golf clap you, dog. Going out there and doing that, hell yeah. I love the fact that I think he's 38 years old, testing himself. How could you not appreciate that? So, look, I love what they're doing right now. Hey, if you guys tune in, January 10th is their next event. That's going to be Luke Rockhold in Sunrise, Florida. You guys can buy tickets online at RAF Wrestling. I think it's RealAmericanFreestyle.com. You guys can buy tickets on there. Check it out. Colby Covington versus Luke Rockhold. There's some other big matchups on this. Bo Nickal versus Yoel Romero. Kyle Dake and Khalid. And then Jordan Oliver and Real Woods. You got some really good matchups on this card. So check it out. You guys can buy tickets on there. And if you guys like this video, like and subscribe. I want to thank you guys so much. And we're out.